This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Indonesia is aggressively trying to become a hub for EVs. It's trying to lure Tesla to build a plant in the country. It recently proposed a free trade agreement with the US for minerals needed to produce EV batteries. And now Volkswagen is joining a $4.5 billion nickel mining project with Ford, the miner Vale, and a Chinese mineral producer. Indonesia wants to build up its EV sector because it sits on the largest nickel reserves in the world, and nickel is an important metal needed for EV batteries. Porsche sold a record number of cars in the first quarter. The automaker delivered more than 80,700 vehicles worldwide, a gain of 18% compared to last year. But unlike its German rivals Mercedes and BMW, which saw significant growth with their electrics, sales of the Porsche Taycan declined 3% in the first 3 months of the year. It delivered a little over 9,000 models of the EV. Porsche blames the decline on supply chain issues. But overall, the company recorded gains in all markets, but it was especially strong in the US and China. And over in China, EV maker Xpeng saw its sales fall off a cliff in the first quarter. They were down nearly 50%. But maybe this can help turn things around. It just introduced a new platform that it developed in-house that it says will help reduce the cost of developing cars and manufacturing them. Called the Smart Electric Platform Architecture 2.0, it's very similar to what Tesla is doing right now. It integrates the batteries into the vehicle's body, and it includes front and rear aluminum die castings. Xpeng says the new platform reduces the cost of the powertrain, including the batteries, by 25%. Xpeng's G6 SUV will be the first model to use the new architecture. And with the price war going on in China, the company says the platform will give it a cost advantage with its competitors.
At Schaeffler, we pioneer motion. Electrifying mobility, manufacturing smarter, reducing CO2 emissions, making energy production clean. Schaeffler pioneers motion to advance how the world moves.
I think it would be fair to say that the VW Group has done well with the electric vehicles that it's launched off its MEB platform, but also that they haven't performed quite as well as the company would have liked. That's why we're so interested to watch its newest electrics come out, like the refreshed ID.3 and the all-new ID.7, which feature multiple platform upgrades. And we can finally show the uncamouflaged version of the ID.7, a vehicle that it refers to as the top model within its EV family. It features a new in-house developed electric drive unit and an improved charging system. The new motor produces 210 kilowatts or 282 horsepower, and VW expects charging of up to 200 kilowatts, which is up from 135 right now. It also expects a pretty impressive WLTP range of 700 kilometers or 435 miles. That is partly due to a pretty impressive coefficient of drag of 0.23. So, when do we get to see if these improvements really translate to the real world? Well, the ID.7 launches in Europe and China this year and the US next year. Lancia, which is part of Stellantis, showed off a wild-looking concept called the Pu+Ra HPE. That's a mashup of pure and radical, while HPE stands for High Performance Electric. The two-door four-seater is said to be its brand vision for the next 10 years and will first inspire a new vehicle called the Epsilon. That vehicle will come out next year and will be sold with both a hybrid and electric powertrain. Speaking of electrification, Lancia will launch an all-new EV called the Delta in 2028, which is the same time that it will transition to only selling electrics. But back to the Pu+Ra and its styling, we see a little of the Hyundai Ioniq 5 in the front lighting, but motoring fans may also see some inspiration from the famed Lancia Stratos in there as well. The interior is also pretty wild, with futuristic bucket seats and a large dashboard that seems more like a digital drafting table than it does an actual dash. And Volvo customers in the back seat of this next vehicle will have to turn up their pinky before taking a sip of anything. It debuted a new version of the EX90 called the Excellence that has a much more luxurious rear seat environment. Instead of 2 rows in the back, there's only 1, and all those seats have been replaced with 2 well-appointed captain's chairs. Those chairs flank a new small center console, partially topped in natural wood, that features multiple cup holders and the controls for the rear seat heaters and massagers. Rounding out the interior upgrades is a small fridge between the 2 seats. But also, in its own words, the exterior of the EX90 Excellence will undergo, quote, a few small tweaks.
We want to know what drives your testing. OTA, connected car, diagnostics, remote testing. Intrepid Control Systems is here to help you work from anywhere. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
BMW took the wraps off its most powerful pure electric model, the i7 M70 xDrive. The all-wheel drive sedan cranks out a combined 650 horsepower and 748 pound-feet of torque. But when the launch control or sport boost function is activated, its torque jumps to 811 pound-feet. The car can move from 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds and has a top speed of 155 miles an hour. The vehicle features a 101.7 kilowatt-hour battery pack, which provides an estimated 295 miles of range. The i7 M70 xDrive debuts at the Shanghai Auto Show this week. It will be built in Germany, and it will go on sale worldwide in the second half of the year. Pricing will be announced closer to the start of production. Now there should be no doubt in your mind that Ram is working on an electrified mid-size pickup truck. In September of last year, Ram CEO Mike Koval said it was considering showing off a mid-size concept to dealers in March to, quote, see what they say and go from there. Then in February, referencing the same dealer meeting, he said of an electric mid-size pickup, quote, we can clinic it to see if it's the right truck. Well, now that March has passed, Koval was asked about the truck again, and according to Green Car Report said, quote, I had 6,000 of my best friends in the arenas, and I was looking for the thumbs up or thumbs down, and they would have to tell you, but I think it's overwhelmingly positive. This all made it seem like the electric midsize truck's fate rode on the dealer's reaction, and with things looking positive, it should all be moving forward. But this is quickly becoming a crowded space, with Ford, Toyota, and others all working on their own models to launch. But that brings us to the end of today's show. Thanks for tuning in.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. And by Scheffler, we pioneer motion.